Hey, Coach, how's it going?
It's going good. Long time no see.
Yeah, no kidding. What have these last few weeks been like? What have you been able to accomplish from an offensive standpoint during this time?
I mean, it's just basically like a spring ball-esque, where you're not worried. I mean, a few weeks we prepared for opponents, so those were good prep. It's good reps. Reps are reps. There's different looks. We're putting all that knowledge, into a bag that we're going to be able to pull from in the future. But then this last week we got, 2.5 days of work in that are just for us to get better, like a normal bye week. So I'd say, missing the games, those were just great experience for our guys to prepare, because it's not all about Saturday. Our guys got to learn how to prepare. So even though we don't play on Saturday, they at least had to practice preparing, because that's part of, maturing. And then this last week, obviously us focusing more like a spring ball mentality and focusing on us and getting our bodies back healthy has been huge.
You referred to this past week as almost spring ball like. I mean, how big? I mean, for a team that missed the vast majority of spring, how big do you think that is? Not just for kind of the next couple games, but kind of getting a jump start on the off season.
I mean, you're either getting better or getting worse. I mean, you're either waking up and saying, I'm going to improve today, or you're waking up and saying, I'm not going to improve today and somebody else will. So every day our football team gets up, we're trying to get better. We're trying to improve. So anytime that we can focus that improvement on just us, and we don't have to focus that improvement on an opponent or a scheme, it's obviously better. So the last week where we didn't focus on anybody else, but focused on us within our scheme and not game plan oriented, it's awesome.
Kenny, how important is it this next couple of weeks for your young guys? You have a lot of young guys on the roster to kind of use the next couple of weeks maybe to parlay into next season, as you kind of mentioned previously, to maybe continue to grow to get ready for the maybe 2021 season?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, like I just said, we're trying to get better every day. And every single day that we have from now until the end of the season, we better maximize, because they all count. And like I already said, you're either getting better or getting worse. And it sounds boring. It sounds repetitive. It's coach talk, all that stuff. But it is the absolute truth. You wake up every day and you get better and you get better and you get better. And all of a sudden, you're going to be good.
Coach, I guess, where do you think you are right now on the rust versus rest spectrum, and does it affect an offense differently, I guess, this time off versus what a defense has?
I think we've prepared to play so much that, I mean, that's one of those things you don't really know until you get out there on game day. I mean, I wish I could give you, we're at 80% rust and 20%. I mean, it's impossible until you get out there, right? But I'll say this. We've been preparing to play games. So it's not like we took 3 weeks off. We took a couple Saturdays off. It wasn't like the whole week was off. So from the rust standpoint, is there going to be some communicate, some live bullets? Maybe. But at the same time, we have prepared to play games. So I don't see the rust as being as big of a factor.
Lawrence, showed obviously some real sparks for the offense early in the season at different times. But I don't know if he's really been dependent on to be a play-in, play-out guy, where he might be going forward the rest of the season. What has he had to work on to become that? And how close is he coming to that?
I just think anytime you show up, you're a true freshman, you don't have a normal off season, and then you have an elongated season, your body wears on you. That's the hardest thing for freshmen, is to maintain, your health throughout a season in all aspects, and just not necessarily your health, just your legs being 100%. So, I mean, throughout the season, you could see some weeks he's felt great. Some weeks he's been tired. I mean, his body's just fatigued. He's a true freshman. So I think the rest he's been able to accumulate, you're going to see that energy and that burst that you saw earlier in the season with him. So I'm excited to see him get out there feeling good, kind of back to that, fresh legs mentality.
Hey, Kenny, I want to ask you about Jordan because he missed pretty much all your preseason practice. He's been in and out battling injuries throughout. Now you've had an extended couple weeks to work with him. How much invaluable has that been for him to actually have some consecutive practices over and over to work with him?
It's huge. I mean, yesterday was the best he's thrown the ball since I've been here. And in my opinion, it wasn't even close. Came out with a purpose, extremely accurate. He was extremely dialed into the fundamentals. I mean, he came out, I don't know what happened. We gave him a few days off and he came back and his mind must be rejuvenated because that was the most focused, the most attention to detail, and the best he's thrown the ball since he's been here.
Likewise, I guess, what have the last couple weeks been like for the wide receivers kind of there? I know obviously you've seen glimpses, but haven't really had that one guy step up consistently since Tamorian left. So just a couple weeks where they're kind of able to focus. What have that done, do you think, for them?
Well, I mean, the first few weeks we were just preparing for a game, so I think that was more status quo. And this last week, we got a lot of individual routes with the quarterbacks. I think one thing that is improving is our timing between wide receiver and quarterback. You know, we're limited at the wideout position in terms of numbers. So the one benefit of that is your quarterbacks get more throws to the same guys because of those limited numbers. So I do think that our timing is becoming better. And that's something you work on in the offseason. So us not having that, you know, we missed that. So we're kind of just now catching up to the timing and the rhythm and all being on the same page from that standpoint. And then them just continuing to get on the jugs machines. And that's something that you've seen show up is they're waking up in the morning, they're staying after practice, getting on the jugs machines, trying to get extra work.
Kenny, you're a coach. You're not a surgeon. You can't do a heart transplant. You can't put your passion in these guys. But do you think the layoff at least has maybe created like a moment for these guys to, I guess, find a new sense of enthusiasm to play the game of football?
I think from Tuesday, so 6 days ago, last Tuesday's practice, we came, I don't know what it was, but it came with something extra. And I wish I could tell you I gave the best motivational speech, like we're about to be in the movie 300, but that wasn't it. Just our team it clicked. It clicked a little bit. And they said, oh, wow, I need to sprint on the field like this. Man, I haven't been doing it as hard as I could. And I think that's part of just progress. You know, it's nothing's built in a day. You can't put it in the microwave. Kids are going to learn and grow every single day. And we're going to push and push and push. And I think the biggest growth that I've seen this last week is the mindset. Like our guys sprinted on the field. I know it sounds like a little deal and it's the expectation of who we are, but we didn't have to send them back. They just did it the first time. We didn't have to yell sprint on the field. They just did it. And little things like that, that's how you build culture and that's how you build a winning program.
On that note, you know, I guess getting this opportunity for these last couple of games, and at one point you might not have known that this was going to happen. How much does this feel like kind of possibly a springboard towards next season, I guess? I mean, it goes back to, I know it's not the answer you want, but it goes back to you got to just attack the day. Like next season, great. But we can worry about next season all we want if we don't get better today. If our kids on their own are not watching tape today, if they're not calling us saying, hey, what does this look? Or what should I do versus this? What do I do versus this? Then we're not getting better. If our kids aren't studying for final exams without us having to beg them to do so, we're not doing better, right? So for us, it's the constant mindset of stay focused on right now. And if we can just continue to instill it and we believe it and we attack it, then like you just said, these next 2 weeks, if we take 14 days to get better, well, next year we're 14 days better. That's 2 weeks better. We're 2 weeks better, 2 games better next year as we kick off if we capitalize. Yeah, and then I know Duke obviously had a tough game this past Saturday, but what did they do on defense? What have you seen from them? 4 down and 3 down front. They're simple in the back end. They don't do much coverage-wise.
They challenge you. They play a lot of bump man-to-man, and they make you throw contested throws. You can tell, obviously, their head coach is an offensive-minded guy, so he knows the hardest thing to do is just to win one-on-ones because there's no scheming around it. You can't scheme around press man-to-man. You can try to create rub routes, but at the end of the day, it's press man-to-man, right? It's mano-a-mano. So you can tell that philosophy is instilled in their defense of, hey, we're going to challenge wide receivers and we're going to make you beat us from that standpoint. Their front, they move around a good amount, and they pop and blitz in the odd front, and that's just try to create confusion. But you don't see them bust very often. There's a few clips now and then. They've had some guys dinged out, and those have been how they've given up some big plays is some of the guys have come in, and there's been some confusion. But when they have their guys on the field, they don't make mistakes, and they make you win those one-on-ones.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.